What is going on, guys? Welcome back. Commentary for you. I want to thank my sponsor, Steel Supplements. Link and discount code down in the description. You also know I am a Webull preferred influencer already. 4th of the month, but so many people taking advantage of the promotion. Click the link in the pinned comment. Open an account. They're going to give you free fractional shares just for opening it. You deposit even $1. They're going to give you complete free stocks. These videos are videos I love to make, because there's not many people making them on the platform, because I see every day EA is out here working with new content creators trying to create a character for you to follow in this community and then sell you the fact that this game is getting better every year. We're going to go back, though. We're going to go back last year, and I just want to understand where this game is. I want to see what they're selling me as a potential customer. They're talking about M factors here. Game day atmosphere. Game day conditions that will impact both teams. The weather. The quality of turf can determine game day conditions, which can either be beneficial or detrimental. Some examples: increased ball flight in high altitude. A very, very fine detail. Goes on to talk about change of direction ratings for all players. User-controlled, computer-controlled. Offense, defense. When playing on slippery surfaces. So when you take a look at this face value, weather would mean a lot. Snow, ice, wind, rain. The entire game would be changed by weather. This is something that EA has been pushing for nearly a decade. And I found a really interesting article when they talked about partnering with the Weather Channel way back, console generations ago, in NCAA 08. At the click of a button, the video game screen shows current weather for the real-world stadium, giving some extra realism. So understand, it's extra realism now, but 15 years later, 10 years later, it's going to be the pinnacle of simulation sports. Look at how they talk about this game. With ground visuals in games nearly perfected, the latest step towards realism in sports video games is focused on the skies. EA Sports is the first game to pipe in real-time weather conditions. Why was this so important, right? Because they go on to say, rain will cause more fumbles. You'll see players breathe in the cold, and they'll get tired when it's hot. What was built upon? Right? They're selling you the same thing year after year after year. Most importantly, understand, Xbox, Xbox 360, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3 downloads a forecast every hour while the player is online, detailing precipitation, temperature, wind conditions. And then it says, listen, hurricanes, they're not part of the program, but they will shift winds and make field goals harder to kick. The wind meter in Madden has been broken for a number of years. What have we built upon with this? Nothing. We're not even getting updates. We're not even getting roster updates, and that's what I want to talk about next. Because when we go back and we talk about Madden 08, they talk about roster updates. And they actually preclude how they could make the game too realistic. Too realistic. Roster updates throughout a season have been adjusted for trades, injuries, depth chart, even player performance. It goes on to talk about Dante Culpepper being signed by the Oakland Raiders, forcing a change with the roster with Madden 08. It talks about Atlanta Falcon Mike Vick. They talk about what's next. How can they build upon this? And man, this is where you have to understand, guys, you're being sold promises in 2008. We are 2022. There is probably no way, in all sincerity, that the people that wrote this article would even know the type of power the consoles that these games are running today was going to exist. Miller envisions improvements in the roster updates, okay? So this is an EA employee telling you what's going to happen in the future. While the current version will likely update every month, week, continuous changes could sink even to an injury at a specific field. But he worries about going too far. If you're playing during a real game and a player gets injured, he'll get injured in your game. That's realism to an extreme. Just because it happens in real life doesn't mean you want it in your game. We're always looking to push to the next level, but we still want to give players their fantasy fulfillment. I would say the only fantasy fulfillment going on is the people at EA Sports that think this game is actually getting better when it's not. It's amazing to me that they sit here and they project what's too much, right? He's telling you, hey, this would be too much. Imagine you're watching any game on a Sunday, and all of a sudden, you have a player go down with injury, you load up your console, and there he is hurt. That might be too much. And I would say to some, perhaps it would. I think others might actually really endear themselves to that because that is such a huge element of football. They bring up fantasy fulfillment. We're talking about fantasy sports to a degree. When a player gets injured in real life, guess what? He's injured on your fantasy team. Why would they not think that would carry over to video games and Madden? I don't understand. However, the reality is sit here and talk about all these things. Soldier Field, weather changes, those are big things in Chicago. And they're literally walking back every single one of these concepts modern day. They have more technology, they have more data, way more data. They have a much closer connection with the league because you have people that have worked at EA for years that have been able to refine these partnerships, refine these relationships, go out and scan players' faces directly at the team locations, all the things that they could do to make this game better. And you can see that they're not even living up to the promises that they held years ago. They're selling you things last year that aren't even important enough to be consistent in the game this year. And for some reason, we have a community of people semi-void of talking about this. This isn't hard to do. Go back and look at your past Maddens. See how the people that worked on the game spoke about it. See what they said was critical to the game being successful when trying to get your money. And ask yourself, if you as a fan haven't changed, if the league as the NFL hasn't done anything drastically different, then why are we looking at such a disconnect between where EA was selling us and wanted to go and actually ended up? All the talk about these roster updates, need I remind you, this year, Play Now Live, something that EA was hanging its hat on, saying could make the game too realistic. We are now seriously looking at possibly having 4 or 5 updates throughout an entire season. Not a team season, I mean start to finish, preseason to championship game. This doesn't make any sense if they are trying to make their game actively better and provide you a better product. Love to know your thoughts on this. Appreciate you watching this video, and you know I will be back in the week with more commentary.